everyone, Housewife fans. You are here with But I'll Take a Pinot Grigio, Housewives Corner. It's me, Sunday, pop culture professor, and if you're watching on video, one very lazy dog. So let's get into it. Today, we are going to talk about the Real Housewives of Atlanta reunion part 2. A little tiny bit about the Real Housewives of London. I need you guys to come at me. Are y'all watching this? Is anybody watching Real Housewives of London? I'm having a hard time connecting with it. I'll get to it in a second. And then also I'm going to talk about Real Housewives of OC because this is how it all started. If you guys remember, me and Emily, shout out Emily, we're going to cover the 20th anniversary of Real Housewives of OC, but it got kind of boring. And so we have switched over to the Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip, Road Trip Roaring 20th. And now that, my friend, is delivering. So if you have not watched any of those episodes, what the hell are you doing? Go back and watch and listen to me and Emily. We crack up. We have a really good time because it's bringing me a lot of joy. Also, Nolan and I just wrapped up McBee Dynasty Season 3. We have no idea if these folks are coming back. If anybody's got any scuttle, send it to me. You guys are really good at like finding the tea and sending it on. I try not to repeat it on air, even though I think I've effed it up a little bit with the McBees repeating stuff I shouldn't have. And then Jeff and Nolan and I, which this unholy trio here, we are doing Double Lives of Suburban Wives, and it's a head scratcher, y'all. It's doing something. I can't tell, but go back and listen. It's worth a watch. Will it get a season 2? Question mark. I don't know. We are also wrapping up our vintage Vanderpump coverage, which is kind of the crown jewel in our podcast network here. We have finished up season 5. We are about to talk about the reunion. So next week, if you guys are listening to this on Friday or the weekend, the reunion talk is coming up and there's no secrets revealed. So Jeff and I are just going to like burn through the 3 episodes of the reunion in one. Nolan and I are thinking about maybe starting our very own independent, well, I mean, it's under the BITAP banner, but some kind of true crime, murder show. And we're still thinking about that. So if you could please rate us, whether you listen to Apple or iHeart or Spotify or whatever, go and rate us and send us a quick little review. Give us a 5-star review. Tell us what you love. Tell us what you want to hear. Like, please do that because it helps us get seen. And because there's such a like dearth of shows, I think some of our episodes are getting buried. So if you love this show, which of course you do, duh. If you love it, please go and rate us and review us and leave us a little comment, even if it's just like, Vicky really is a Debbie Downer, or if it is, I didn't go to boarding school and, I'm mad about it, or Shando Hallelujah. Any of those things will do, but go and write us. And then you can find us on all the social medias at Take a Pinot Pod, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. And so I'm trying to be better about uploading videos. You guys really have seen, I've really said that you like videos the best, so I'm trying to do that as well too. So please interact with us. All hot takes, complaints, crying, jags, celebrations, all that. Send that to Jeff at Pinot Pod. He loves it, so send him an email. Right now, y'all, we are working our way through Jax and Brittany Take Kentucky. Woof, because remember now, Jax's beautiful wife and one of my very dearest friends, Brooke, is from Kentucky, but she's not like from Southern Kentucky. She is from like upper, like Louisville, fancy pants, closer to Midwestern Kentucky. And I'm going to tell you, that ain't where Brittany's from. Okay. Our Kentucky muffin is real Mason-Dixon. So go look for all of that right here. So, okay, let's get into it. Let's start with Atlanta first. Okay. Because Atlanta is by and large my very favorite franchise. Now, is it because I live in Georgia? Is it because I went to high school with some of these women? Not for real, but I'm just saying these archetypes of women. Is it because I desperately have a best friend / lady crush on Porsha and Phaedra, and let me get in that sandwich? Let me be the cream to that Oreo sandwich, please and thank you. Is that in poor taste? Should I take that out? I don't know. I'm going to leave it. Y'all tell me. I am so in love with them. And the way that they can hold their own in an argument and then 5 minutes later just be super cool about it. The way that these white bread ladies in London, and I'm saying this as a very white bread lady, but like I'm Southern white, so it's a little different. But these ladies of London get so flustered. They trip over themselves. They get in this like disgusting ditch of reads and insults. Whereas, yes, the Atlanta ladies are getting dirty, but they are so smooth about it. Like butter is not melting in their mouth. So let's get into it. This is the second installment of the reunion. And I posted this on TikTok because remember in the if you've already watched it, they played Cynthia's like EDM song with her new boo, Labyrinth, I think is his name. And Andy was losing his mind, y'all. He's fist bumping. He's falling out of the chair. You cannot convince me that this man doesn't love Atlanta the most ever. You can tell he watches it. He knows the drama. He is asking nuanced questions in the way that he does not in other franchises. So, okay. And it does bear mentioning that they are in New York, which they typically are for reunions. They all go to New York. Back in the old days, remember, they would say things like, well, I haven't spoken to you since we were in New York together, which is code for I haven't spoken to you since the reunion. Okay, so they do a flashback. Jesus, love this franchise. Like, get on my knees. Thank you, baby Jesus in the manger. They flash back to Phaedra's first reunion in which she was wearing one of those like Hervé Ledger's bandage dresses, and it was so tight the woman almost fainted. Okay, that is doing it for the cause. My mama used to always say, "Beauty is pain, Sunday," and Phaedra must have had a mother similar to that. She was like, "Just stick it out, suffer for the beauty." And Andy brings out, quote, America's friend, Cynthia Bailey. What deal with the devil have these OG Atlanta women made between Cynthia and Porsha and Phaedra and Nene? It is wild that Porsha and I are in and around the same age. She's like a year younger than me a little bit, but she looks like she could be my damn daughter. She is gorgeous and beautiful. And Phaedra sometimes leans a little heavy on the lashes. And because she has a face shape that, moves a little round, sometimes the lashes can really kind of obscure, but she's beautiful and she can read you down and you'll be like, thank you, ma'am. May I have another? I love it so much. So to catch Cynthia up and to remind you guys, K. Michelle is a gay man, Pinky's pregnant, Drew's divorced, and Phaedra and Porsha both fucked Mike. That's where we are. Drew and Shamea. So Drew submitted her question. Remember, the new gimmick for this particular reunion is that the housewives themselves are submitting questions to other housewives. So Andy's like, Drew Sidora from Atlanta, Georgia would like to ask Shamea, why you tell K. Michelle nobody liked her? I'm paraphrasing here, obviously. And then it launches into this confusing back and forth. This is my one and only beef with this reunion. The women all come in at the same time, and it's like they're not even talking to the same one. So it's not like it's like five ganging up on one. They are all having these interconnected conversations. And so it's like 5 or 6 conversations happening at once. And so I can't figure out who I need to listen to. And I think the caption people must have a problem. Same, because there's so many side conversations, and that'd be my only beef with them. And something about Shamea pulled Kay and was like, hey, be wary of these women. They don't really like you. And then Shamea tries to say that it wasn't about this group. And Andy pulls him back. He's like, well, let's only talk about this group. And Porsha chimes in. And I am real sad at the dissolution of Porsha and Shamea's friendship because, and correct me if I'm wrong, because there were a couple of seasons that I kind of dipped in and out, but they were actual legitimate real friends. Even before Shamea was a part of the show, she was kind of in Porsha's corner, was her real friend. And to see them be at each other's throats like this, it just kind of goes to show that this show is not a facilitator of good relationships. I guess you could just like check out on all the divorces that people have had across the franchises, but even for real friendships. And Shamea has this really weird way about her. She'll come really hot. Like, yeah, don't nobody give a shit about you and your husband. You're fucking this married dude. And your husband is this and that. But then when she's confronted, she immediately backs down in this really artificial way. Like, okay, well, I'm sorry about it. but there's still that same animosity bubbling under the surface. And I just find it to be a real whiplash moment. I'm like, hey, Shamea, what are we doing here? Are you digging your heels in? Are you going 10 toes down? Or are you conciliatory and saying sorry? And I have a hard time with Shamea. She is one of my least favorites. And I'll tell you this, people, Pinot Potters, I went into this season not caring for K. Michelle, and I am coming out on the other side absolutely a fan. And the opposite is true for Shamea. I went in trying to give her the benefit of the doubt, thinking like, hey man, she's got all this fertility stuff. She's really sharing it with us. She's going to let us be part of her world. And she's letting us in about her husband and stuff. And I'm coming out thinking like, damn, you might be an asshole, Shamea, right? Like, I don't know. But so K. Michelle, after having this conversation with Shamea, is already guarded. This is kind of like leads into the everybody's conspiring against me conversation that they were having. And she's got her dukes up. And that Shamea's having side conversations with her saying like, listen, none of these women are for you, but I am. So on camera, I need you to be loyal to me. I need you to like ride for me in this all way, like defend me in these ways. So they had some off-camera events. There is an off-camera incident in which K. Michelle's like, okay, Mr. Andy, let me tell you. And it's so fucking hilarious. A week ago, K. Michelle and Shamea, and I believe Kelly, which I didn't write it down, so y'all correct me if I'm wrong, went to dinner. And it started out real amicable, and then it got ugly. And so as this particular franchise is wont to do, they get in the red real quick. Shamea claims that K. Michelle's standing up over her, punching her fist. You guys know, if y'all are watching the video, you can tell, but like, doing that, come and get it, bully, little rascals thing. And Shamea claims that she banged the table and was like, enough of this nonsense. Boom, 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 right? So there's a little bit to discrepancy there. And Shamea says that she reacted. She had her on her twos. Shamea was on her twos. I don't know what that means. So y'all leave in the comments or send me a DM. Let me know what it means to be on your twos. From context, I assume that Shamea was sitting down and Kay was standing over her and she was on her back, but like on her heels, on her, like what? I didn't get that. But then inexplicably, the talk turns to the mothers and Shamea and her club were at the club. Shamea and her mother, y'all, were at the club at 2 a.m., but it wasn't 2 a.m., it was 12 o'clock. And this is where Kay or Kelly ran into her. And this is where Shamea's mom called Porsha a Jezebel, which that's tough for me. Like I am, a middle-class white lady, but I'm also an academic. And so I understand the baked in messaging in Jezebel, but I'm not sure if I completely understand the impact it has when one Black woman says it to another Black woman. So another thing too, please, it's not your job to educate me. I should probably look it up, but I don't know if it's worse or better or what. I don't know, because Porsha got mad. She's like, oh, your mama's a Jezebel. Tell your mama to keep her name out of my mouth. And when I tell you, I would go to the ends of the earth for Porsha Williams. Like there is nothing this woman could ask me to do and I wouldn't do it. Because, I'm also watching her on the road trip and she is by far the most fun. She's the hinge between a lot of the women. Love her. But y'all listen to me and Emily tomorrow to hear all that. And this whole Jezebel business is getting in the ditch. Talking about the mamas is getting in the ditch. And Andy was like, hey, let's leave the mamas out of it. And it makes it even more insidious because Porsha and Shamea were friends for a really long time. So they do know each other's mothers. They do have a relationship with their parents and stuff. And so it just makes it really grosser, if there is such a word to that. And I'm feeling a little sad. And then there's a lot of yelling. There's an uneasy truce between like Porsha and like that side of the couch. And then there's like a lot of yelling between Angela and Kay. I can't get a read on Angela. She's so defensive all the time. And I can't get a sense if her husband is like the real deal. Like I know he's a real athlete and he's really important in that way. But does he like her? Are they in love? Like, do they have a happy marriage? It's really hard to tell. You can't be inside anybody's relationship. But every scene, it kind of seems like she is ingratiating herself to him, and they've been married a long time, so I can't tell. But something about, you don't got money. Maybe this is about one of their businesses, and Kelly and Angela get into it about the homes, and there's fried chicken at Shamea's house, and neither one of y'all got a brick and mortar, and maybe you should sell your wigs. Like I said, there's so much crosstalk that it's hard for me to discern what's happening. And I mean, I'm going to try to go through this because, I could talk about Atlanta all night, and I really need somebody to come talk about Atlanta with me. And there's only one episode, but if any of my Pinot Potters are out there and you're dying to have somebody to talk to Atlanta about, I'm your girl. Come at me. But so then they wrap that up. They put a little like bow on that, and he asked Cynthia, "Hey, any wedding bells in your future?" And she says, "Not a damn one. Not a damn one. Thank you, baby Jesus, that this beautiful cheekbone lady has learned her lesson about wiping these men up. Like, they are beneath her, and so she just keep it like it is." But then her song, I guess it was the music for the trailer, for the mid-season trailer, and Andy goes nuts. Like I said at the beginning, he's fist pumping, he's falling out of his chair. Like, all the ladies are just like going after it. That's another thing that I love about this franchise, is that they can talk to each other like dogs, read each other for dirt, and then in the next breath be really happy they're succeeding. So that's what I love about them. There is a sisterhood. I'm watching that the road trip situation, and a lot of the housewives are talking about the sisterhood that exists among them. And I think Atlanta is a really good example of that, because they are metaphorically scratching each other's eyes out one minute, and then Cynthia's song comes on and they are all just like, "Yeah, girl, get it, after it." And Cynthia is so sweet and humble. She's like, "Yes, I'm available for children's birthday parties, bat mitzvahs, all that." I love her so much. She's so cute. So then talk turns to Pinky's bankruptcy. What do you make of this? So it kind of seems like she's too defensive to have a real conversation about it, which I understand. Nobody ever wants to admit that something they did not succeed. But it's the language that she talks about bankruptcy as like a tool, and this, that all of the ladies, even Andy, kind of like globs onto. And he's like, you're kind of belittling it. There's a lot of investors. Then they have this back and forth about a lot of Black women invested. And Pinky comes back, well, it was white people too. And so I'm having a hard time parsing through the subtext here. So is it better that white people invested and they lost their money equally as Black people? Or like, what is the subtext here? Like I said, I don't have enough context to know it. I've never owned a business. I've never been a Black woman in Atlanta. I've never had to be on a reunion show. So I'm wondering what is like baked into it. But nonetheless, she's petulant. She, won't say sorry about it. She's kind of like hedging. And I'm wondering if this is maybe legal advice, like don't admit this kind of thing, or like don't, concede guilt or whatever. And she says this thing where, listen, I have the means. I've got the means. I wouldn't have gotten casted if I had the means. And this right here is how I know Andy Cohen watches this show, because he leaps right in and he's like, "Listen, we're not checking bank accounts, but maybe we should." Yike, burn. I'm wearing a shirt that says "Yike" today, which shout outs to my very favorite podcast, Reality Gaze. It says their merch. You guys go listen to them. They're very fun. They don't do housewives, but they do a lot of really fun stuff. So go listen to them and then tell them I sent you. And then Pinky reveals that Phaedra called the higher ups and told them about a comment she made about something that she was going to protect herself when it related to a significant device. Is she talking about a gun? So I missed a couple of episodes, or maybe I fell asleep in one or something and didn't, but did Pinky say something about having a weapon? And Phaedra got uncomfortable with that, and then so called like her producers or whatever. But also, am I misremembering? Didn't Phaedra also have a gun? And wasn't it Pink? Am I mixing up my housewives here? But it was something about feeling unsafe there. Okay, cool. Andy also chimes in again, and he says, "I've known this woman for many years. If she really wanted to fuck you up, she'd have called me," which home number in her contacts, right? Or she would have called the folks in New York. So Andy's riding for Phaedra. she's a complicated cast member. I know her and Candy had some problems. I am not defending the sex dungeon of it all, but I am saying the Phaedra that I know now, the Phaedra that I knew on Married to Medicine, which, God, another show I love so much. Um, yeah, it seemed she felt unsafe, or maybe it was retaliatory or vindictive in a way that I don't know. It seemed strange and a little out of character for Phaedra to take something off camera, but whatever. So we know that Pinky's project's been picked up by a major network. And then they start talking about her past relationship with a woman. I don't know. I have a little bit of beef about this. She's like, yeah, I munched on some carpet, which fine. Okay, we're making a joke. But then she kind of belittles it that, it could only be in a relationship with a woman for a few weeks because they get real clingy. And if y'all don't know, I am married to a woman. We've been married 2 years. We've been together almost 5. I just feel like sinking into stereotypes is not the way to go, especially now that Porsha, I'm so sorry to say that you're middle-aged, Porsha. I know you would hate that. But this middle-aged Black woman who probably had to undo a lot of learning from the South, just like I had to do, to be settled in our sexuality, that Pinky saying these very reductive, stereotypical things like, oh, well, they're just like, I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't. I just need this sausage or whatever the fuck she says. It's gross. And Porsha kept a good sense of humor about it, as she does. She talked about, I'm clingy number 1. Andy joins in on the joke, like, yeah, you're the best lesbian ever. It's all fun and games. But I think that that's a tough conversation to have. And I think maybe somebody should pull Pinky aside and be like, hey, I wonder how that woman that you were in a relationship with for 3 years feels about you talking about it like that, right? Like, doesn't it just feel a little yuck? But, whatever. More about George and Shamea fucking George. I'm going to tell you that I could not care less about Shamea fucking George or the Hawks players or the Falcons players, okay? Give her her own spinoff and let us talk about her fucking or not fucking these folks. That is not doing anything for this storyline in this show. It's just not. Y'all are getting text messages that we don't see. Y'all are having conversations that are off camera. All of these things are happening that we're not privy to, and so it's boring. It's boring for me. I want to see it play out in front of me. And Shamea, good for you. You want to fuck a Hawks player. You want to fuck a Falcons player. Love that for you. Not so much for the husband, but whatever. But it's boring to me. So y'all there. And Angela has to walk back some stuff. And this is not Angela's first season, right? She was there last year. I feel like she's making some real rookie mistakes, repeating things that she cannot prove, making salacious accusations that are great for an initial reaction, but then when receipts are being called upon, she can't back it up. So then she winds up looking foolish. I need her to tighten her game up a little bit. Tighten your game up, Angela. You have the potential to be a really great housewife, but you gotta tighten your shit up a little bit. Then they read Pinky's question to Angela. Have you forgiven Porsha for what she said about fucking your husband? Who gives a shit? Y'all act like y'all have not been watching Porsha Williams on your show, on your TV for 10 years. This woman, she doesn't give a shit about your husband. And if she did, your husband wouldn't be your husband anymore. She'd be Porsha's husband. Okay? That's all I'm saying. But, Angela's just getting her get back here. She's fine with Porsha, but like that moment was just her kind of like getting her get back. Got it. I just love the show so much. Just want to say that. I know I'm eating up a lot of my time with Atlanta. Sorry, y'all. What else? Shamea and Angela, something about the Hawks game getting kicked out. I don't know. Who cares? Andy says, sounds like jokes have been misconstrued on both sides. Yeah, no shit, Andy. Obviously, this is what a reunion does. And there's such bad blood between Porsha and Shamea during this exchange that it makes me really sad. Like, I just don't want to see the relationship dissolved that way. And they take a break here, and Portia's talking about she's bringing a lie detector. She took one last night And this poor white uncle having to ask Porsha these questions. Did you see a text message accusing someone of sleeping with a married man? This man is just probably trying to get his $25 an hour. Porsha's looking there, beautiful with no makeup. And this man is just like, where am I? I thought this was some court. Like, what am I doing? But, you know, Phaedra is Phaedraing all over. And she's trying to, so it says something about how trying to get them is the, oh, I remember. I'm sorry. Is a lie detector admissible in court? And Portia's like, in the court of housewives, they are, because Phaedra's like, probably not, and all of that. And I guess I missed this too, but somebody accused Kelly of fucking a pastor. So she had to go to other people's followers and be like, hey man, please stop DMing the pastors in my follow list and asking them questions about our relationships. But apparently there is some client of Porsha's that has been accused of having sex with Kelly. And Phaedra, you can tell she's kind of caught up a little bit too, right? Because of client attorney privilege. Sorry, I had to get some wine. And she's like, no, I mean, I can't say shit about nothing. Am I protecting my client? Then there's this back and forth about Bobby Brown. And she's like, yeah, ask Bobby Brown how successful I am. Because she was his attorney for 8 years, which I'm not going to weigh in on Bobby Brown of it all, but you guys understand the complicated feelings we have about Bobby Brown in Georgia. So Andy says, so Porsha, so where do you guys go from here? She says, to hell. And Phaedra chimes in, not to hell. We don't want to go there. Love her so much, y'all. It's the best. So that's kind of where we leave it. And next, we're going to get into Angela's stuff about her pressuring Amari to tell her siblings about Shamea not confiding in Kelly. And there's some sort of text message stuff. Okay. All right. We'll talk a little bit about London. I just have a few things. And I'm telling you guys, if y'all are enjoying London, please reach out to me, because I'm having such a hard time because it's boring. So we get a little bit of a Dorinda cameo here. I think Dorinda may be caught slipping a little bit because, Dorinda has ties with London because of her husband, Richard, and the Red Balloon, and Hannah's in a PhD program in Harvard. Good for you. Got it. High five. But she makes a white witch comment, like a slip, because she's having lunch with Amanda. This is a little telling. So you're telling me that the phrase white witch is so common that not only did Juliet Angus, or Juliet, whatever, accuse you of being a white witch in the last episode, that you were just inexplicably saying it again. Dorinda, this is some production shit. You got caught slipping. Don't love it. Also, is Amanda okay? Like, they're attacking me because I'm a beautiful woman. I'm just a beautiful, successful woman. Everyone's jealous of me. Y'all know how I feel about women claiming that other women are jealous of them. Just like, go listen to any other Vanderpump Rules podcast. You can get it. But they go to Scotland and they're in the other Juliet's hotel. It's like a castle, but I think it must be some kind of hospitality resort or something. And so there are other guests in this place that they are. They're screaming their faces off. Amanda's screaming at Panthea. They're screaming at Julia. Panthea's a swinger. Karen's sister died. Nessie's like the only normal one. What the fuck is going on in London? And maybe it's just me. Is it entertaining? Are we happy to see these ridiculous women, ungodly wealth, going at each other, insulting them about not being from boarding school, or not being wealth, or you're a liar, you're a swinger, you're jealous of me? It's not great. It's not great. All right, let's jump over to OC. Okay. Again, I don't give a shit. This one's called All Bets Are Off. I'm sorry. I do give a shit because I've been watching this show for 20 years. I care about these women, but I'm wondering if the show is aging out of what I care about. Even though Gina is 2 years younger than me, Emily is 2 years in and around my age. But the show just seems like it's stagnating in a way that it's not. Like Atlanta is forever like refreshing folks and putting in new people. Even New York, which is coming up September 8th, which is my birthday. Happy birthday, Cindy. They've got fresh faces. They've got a cameo with Martha Stewart. Like Miami did this revamp. Like OC, maybe because they are this institution, they are this monolith of pop culture and, society. They're too afraid to make any changes, but we really need something different to happen because they are playing out the same old archetypes over and over. And I'm going to tell you who the worst one is. Looking at you, Vicky Gumbleton. How can you be this terrible? We loved you. Like, you were terrible in a fun way before. You are awful. So, there's this whole business about trading rooms, and Jen is kind of smelling herself, as my mama used to say. She makes Shannon like do all this penance for making her switch rooms, give her bag and this and that. And they all come out on their way to the Grand Canyon looking real sporty. Emily looks so damn good in that just like basic tank and the belt with the buckle. She looks good as hell. And I am not talking about the weight loss. I'm talking about like her tan, the way her hair is. Like she's just looking so good. And I'm appreciating it. Tamara has sneakers on, probably the first time she'll ever wear them. LVP would never, okay? Lisa Vanderpump, not caught dead in a pair of sneakers. And Shannon comes in on a scooter. This bit moves its way through the whole thing. Vicky is on a scooter for the entire episode, which good for you for toughing it out. And I will say this, just to kind of get ahead of any criticism that you guys come, because sometimes you say I'm kind of mean. I had a comment, which I love you guys so much. We were talking about Katie Maloney and Tom Schwartz's wedding on VPR, and I made kind of a mean comment about Katie's dad looking kind of haggard and craggy. Y'all, I think he may have died a few seasons later, and I feel like a real asshole, but you know what? I won't be dirty deleting. I'll just cop the heat. But Vicky is on a scooter the entire time because she has this bad knee, and good for her for sticking it out. But I'm going to say this. Pain does change your personality. It does something to your brain receptors. It does something to the way you move through the world. I have a chronic illness. Before I was officially diagnosed, I had a lot of pain, which I'm fine now. I live my life. I don't even think twice about it. But before I was on my cocktail of medicine, I suffered a lot of pain. It makes you grumpy. It changes the way that you exist in the world. And I will say, maybe that's what's happening with Vicky. Maybe her knee is hurting. She's obligated to do the show. She signed a contract, so she's got to tough it out. And as a result, we're getting a very snippy, a very bitchy Vicky. This business a little bit later, she's been suspicious of Carmela the whole time. She's always just like, look, I'll prove her right. I'll catch her in a lie, all of this. And this business, when they're at the tables and they're gambling, and Vicky says some shit about like, well, you left your daughters in Rancho Santa Fe to come out here or to go live in the OC. That's below the belt, because what a fucking hypocrite Vicky is. You left your kids too. In those early seasons, your children were young too. And maybe not as young as Carmela's. Her daughter's 14. She's home with the flu. But Vicky is coming at her in a way that is so mom shaming. And even somebody uses that word like, Vicky, chill out. And good for Heather. Heather's good for a few things. And one of them is this authority to shut some shit down. Vicky bristles because Heather's like, shut it down. Vicky, how dare you? Not the kids. Don't do that. Vicky bristles. But guess what she does? She backs down. And I really appreciate Heather going in a way that asserts that, like, you're going too far. You've crossed the line. Everybody in that cast was like, Vicky, what are you doing? Don't come for my children. That's terrible. Like, this is so terrible. And I'm going to get on my Julia Sugarbaker rant, as me and Jeff call it. But this show is a job, right? They get paid for it. They have to show up. They have to do it. They have to, perform for a living. The fact that Vicky, as a working woman in the world, working as part of her personality, is coming for Carmela for doing her job and leaving her children with a capable adult. Either it was her older sister or it was her partner. That is really, really misogynistic. Okay. Carmela is going to her job to pay her bills, whatever you want to say about it, and to shame her for leaving her kids. Like, we're not doing that to men, y'all. So, like, do better. Do better. Shannon is still on this room shit with Heather, and I'm just like, I don't have anybody to talk to. I just wish that I had been able to do it. And Heather's like, why don't you just come out with it? Stop doing this dumb shit. I'm sorry you're lonely. This is in her confessional, and I'm paraphrasing, but she's like, I'm sorry you're lonely, but just come fucking out with it. Shannon, enough. Enough's enough. And, Shannon has made some decisions here. Love it. I love this. That she wants to date. That, Heather says a really nice thing to her. She says, and which I say, maybe it wasn't nice. It was really hard to hear, but it was flattering in a way that she's like, Shannon, you have never, ever been with a man that deserves you. Now, that might be hard to hear because then you're thinking like, oh, Jesus, all of my choices are wrapped up in these men who, quote, don't deserve me. But Heather's saying, now's your chance. Now's the time for you to find yourself a soulmate. Get out there and do the dating. And Shannon says she's going to do it. Y'all think we're going to see some Shannon Storms Bedore dating? Because if Love Hotel is any indication, which I only watched a few episodes, I had to give it up. It was real cringe. It's going to be worth my eyeballs. Okay. I do like that Carmela forgives Vicky in a real uneasy truce, but she's like, fuck that bitch and her scooter. Okay. Like, I'll get over it, but I ain't going to forget that shit. Just like she has not forgotten her partner who cheated on her 4 years ago. Okay. She does not forget. Also, there's this scene too where Emily and Shane are on the phone and Shane's making her children breakfast and she sends Annabelle a grilled cheese. Y'all, I'm never one to take a man's side, but are you kidding me? I'm in there on my feet making breakfast for my children and my partner sends her a grilled cheese. That is the most undermining shit I've ever heard. Heather, get your shit together. Okay. We also learn that Gina loves the club. She was a shot girl in college. And this is when I looked up her age because I was wondering if we're the same age. I was also a shot girl. I worked for this little bar called Scooters, which is no longer there anymore. They've demolished it. RIP. But yeah, I had a tray and I was a shot girl and I made more money than I knew what to do with back then. And, they go on their separate ways. Some of them go check on Carmela. Some of them go check on Vicky the next morning. And Vicky doubles down a little bit, but she winds up apologizing to Carmela and fine. Okay. So Heather has put together this scavenger hunt. And I'm not going to go through what it really was, but Gina guessed. She's like, yeah, I guess we're going to be like looking for money and diamonds and Chanel bags probably. Funny, hilarious. But it's cute to see their little antics. They're running through Fremont Street, doing dances and finding animals and getting folks to laugh at them. It's cute. Shannon learned to fist bump at the clubs. She's real committed to it. And they ride a Cartzilla home, which I wonder if they Googled tackiest shit you can do in Las Vegas and they just went down the checkbox there. So, but cute. They are fun and they're having fun. And I'm wondering who has the energy for this many activities. These women are in their 50s and 60s. I don't want to get up on my vacation and do 100 things before I go to bed that night. Okay. I mean, I'm a big old wimp. So it is what it is. There is this whole conversation, which I really appreciate. I'm not quite as old as some of these ladies, but Tamara talks about how like sex is kind of feeling like a lot of work because at her age, which Heather rightly so is like, we need to get your levels checked, which, okay, get it. But I felt like that was an honest conversation in which these women are talking about sex with their partners and how they go about it and how they're feeling about it. And I think there's just not a lot of representation of women in their 50s and 60s talking about being sexual and how they perform. And even Tamara was like, oh, with the lingerie and I got to like this and oh my God, I'm just tired. I really liked it. I like to have sex too, but sometimes you're tired, And Heather This is where Heather says that thing to Shannon, and Shannon cries. She says, I'm lonely. And she's made a decision that she is going to start dating. So I better goddamn see some Shannon Storms Bedore dating. Because if I don't, I'm writing an angrily worded letter to Bravo and producers. Next time, Shannon's feeling old. Carmela introduces the ladies to Danny, and Emily promptly makes it weird. Hey man, how long ago did you cheat on her? Emily, be cool. Be cool. Carmela lets Vicky off pretty easy. Tamara and Heather fight, and don't bring my dad into it. So that's next week on the Housewives Corner. Thank you guys. This was long. I talk about Atlanta so much, and I really hope that y'all don't mind. And thank you for indulging me and sticking around. Find us on the socials at Take a Peanut Pod, anywhere you go. And please rate us and review us. I would love some feedback. I don't get a whole lot. I get a few comments here and there, especially on the YouTubes and on Spotify. But y'all review us and let me know what you think. What could I be doing different? What do you love? Just give us some feedback because I really want to know what you're thinking. And we are always trying to grow and evolve. Until next week, come back and listen to the Real Ultimate Girls Trip. Emily and I have so much fun. We laugh through the whole thing. Love you guys. See you next time.